Welcome viewers, welcome back to this course on ESD, that is Education for Sustainable Development, and we have already discussed about the background or the history of this ESD course or the UNESCO Sustainable Development Goals. So, today we will just discuss about what are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Let us discuss about the each and every goal and all its interrelationship and all its sub targets also. So, these were the keywords very much we have already discussed about this. Is a common keywords that we will be discussing on this, that is all the related to all the SDGs, and these are the course objectives and expected learning outcomes. So, now all the 17 goals, what are these goals and what actually its the focus and scope actually covers. So, first goal is that no poverty, that is end the poverty in all its forms everywhere, that is the SDG Sustainable Development Goal 1 as per the 2030 agenda. So, this thing is that the primary focus is eradicating removing the poverty in all its forms, as it remains as one of the greatest challenges that we are facing nowadays. So, as we can see, the poverty here can be defined as the lack of money and the vital resources, which are very much relevant for the human lives, and how to provide these things with the dignity and dignity to live, that is how can we provide this fundamental right to every citizen. So, while the number of the people that living below poverty line actually dropped gradually and slowly improves its, but still many of the countries or many of the population of section of the population are still living below poverty line. So, the primary goal of this SDG 1 is to how to eradicate or remove poverty in all its forms from everywhere. So, these are some of the targets of the goal 1, that is the under each domain, each goal there are some of the targets, specific objectives, specific targets. Here you can say the targets are eradicate the extreme poverty and reduce the poverty at least by 50%, and implement the social protection systems, equal rights to ownership, basic services, etc., and build a resilience and resilience to environmental, economic and social disaster, that is the disaster preparedness, and mobilize the resources to implement the policies to end the poverty, and to create a pro-poor and gender sensitive policy framework for achieving these SDG goal 1, that is to remove the extreme poverty, extreme poverty at least the poverty, reducing the poverty by 50%, and to eradicate the extreme poverty anywhere it is available. So, the problems of poverty in India, that is these are some of the statistics data that we can find out. 2/3 of the people of India live in poverty, 68.8% Indian population lives in less than below $2 per day, and over 30% have the less than this kind of $1.25 per day available. So, these are the data that we have collected from this research literature, internet literature. So, this is all about the India is the second most populous country after China with 1.2 billion people, and this kind of the largest, this is the one of the largest country in the world, So, this makes Indian subcontinent one of the poorest countries in comparison to its population, in comparison to the GDP, in comparison to its economic scenario. Indian subcontinents, that means this makes Indian subcontinent one of the poorest countries in the world. So, women and children, the weakest members of the Indian society, they suffer the most. Hence, here the Indian data, as per the Indian data, so India is considered as the poorest country in this subcontinent. So, how to achieve the SDG 1 for India. So, therefore, the highly contrasted country, they have already enjoyed a rate of 10% over many years, and that their GDP is also gradually moving up, but only small percentage of the Indian population has been benefited with this massive economic boom. So, the majority of the people are still living in the below poverty line. So, the Indian goal, India and the goal number 1, the global reduction in extreme poverty was driven mainly by Asia, notably in China and India, And traditionally these disadvantaged groups such as the rural dwellers, scheduled caste, tribes, Muslims and the minorities and the young children are still the poorest in during the 2015 and 16 era. So, therefore, the biggest reduction in multidimensional poverty has been witnessed among the poorest and traditional disadvantaged groups across the state, across the caste, across the religion, across the age groups. So, and the multidimensional poverty also it happens, it has among the children under 10 has fallen and fastest, but multidimensional poverty measures reveal who is poor and how they are poor, etc. We have to analyze all these things through a range of analysis. So, the government of India has already made any progressive schemes including the world's largest employment guarantee scheme, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, National Social Assistance Program. So, government has already introduced so many things, so many schemes just to deal with this kind of extreme poverty in India. So, these are some of the data that we can see, that is how the present condition scenario in different sectors. Now, we will come to the SDG 2, that is zero hunger, and that is Sustainable Development Goal 2, that advocates for end hunger, achieve the food security, improved nutrition and promote the sustainable agriculture. So, after 1, then 2 gradually moves towards food security, ending the hunger and improved nutrition, quality of health and promoting the sustainable agriculture. So, here malnutrition has become a key issue. So, malnutrition also, most of the children, most of the women section, they are the sufferers of this malnutrition. So, here how to remove this malnutrition by dealing with these undernourished people, and by supplementing the nutrition food and nutrition. So, and because they form an important, very vital segment of our society. So, primarily the malnutrition and of children and the lactating mothers. So, it has become the primary focus of this SDG 2, how to remove this malnutrition and improve the health. So, the SDGs here aim to end all forms of hunger and malnutrition by 2030, making sure that all the people, especially children, who have sufficient and nutrition food all the year. And this involves definitely promoting the sustainable agriculture, supporting the small scale farmers, industries and equal access to land. Then all those agriculture reforms, then use the technology for the markets, and require also international cooperation to ensure the investment in infrastructure technology to improve the agricultural productivity and reform the policies for the farmers. So, these are some of the data, I can go through it, that is the state of the food security and nutrition in the world report according to the World Report 2020. These are the data, and 51.4% of the women in reproductive age between 15 to 49 years are anemic, and malnourished children have a higher risk of death from the common childhood illness such as diarrhea, pneumonia and malaria. And this is the data that 34.7% of the children aged under 5 in India are stunted with shortage of their age, while the 20% suffer from the wasting, and meaning the weight is low weight. So, the global hunger index 2020 ranks India at the 94 out of 107 countries on the basis of these 3 indicators, that is the 3 indicators: prevalence of wasting and stunting in children under 5 years, under the 5 child mortality rate, and the proportion of undernourished in the populations. Under these 3 parameters, India ranks 94. Next, then the third sustainable development goals, ensuring the health, that is the good health and well-being, that is ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being for all across all ages. So, well-being here is the feeling of satisfaction with life, not just by the physical health, nutrition, but also health, happiness and the prosperity. So, here good health, we can say it concerns the care of the human body and everything that can be done to protect the sickness and intoxication and enable the access to care. Here it is also related to health care facilities. So, therefore, we have to make the progress, great progress towards leading the causes of the death, then disease, death and diseases in life expectancy, to enhance, to increase the life expectancy, infant and reduce the infant mortality, infant and maternal mortality rates, and to fight against the diseases like the polio, HIV, AIDS, malaria, and also and other kinds of the pandemic diseases also. So, here the thing is that while some countries have already made the progress, impressive gains, the national average height, that many are being left behind. So, therefore, it is therefore a multi-sector rights based and gender sensitive approach should be adopted, should be applied, which is very much essential to address the inequalities and to build a good health for all, that is through the reform, through the policy of equality, equal access to facilities, resources, etc. So, with this multi-sector participation, then only we can also we can move ahead slowly towards achieving the good health and well-being for all. So, this is the condition of health and well-being in India, this is the condition in India. So, again you can go through the data, and here however, a quarter of global TB cases occur in India, where nearly 2.1 million people live with the disease, and an estimated of 4,23,000 die annually as a result. It was the major reason of thing. So, the Indian government's national health mission prioritizes this national well-being and leading change in this area, and in addition to the targeted national program on HIV, AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases. So, TB, polio was the priority also, polio, and along with the polio and TB, now the HIV, AIDS has become the target of National Health Mission. And recently, as you can see, the pandemic issues, or the COVID and its various this kind of pandemic, other diseases, contaminated diseases, airborne diseases. Now, this has also taken over our attention, government's attention, health sector's attention, how to mitigate it, how to face the challenges with the vaccines and all kinds of things. Then comes our SDG 4, and that is the quality education which ensures, that is ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunity for all. Here again, yes, definitely without education nothing can happen. So, how to ensure, it is not just about the literacy, enhancing the literacy, functional literacy, but in order to build an inclusive society, we must provide the equitable quality education. That is why to everybody, to all, and to promote the lifelong learning opportunities for all. Therefore, education is the process of facilitating the learning or the acquisition of the knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, habits, etc. And for this matter, quality education is a very important factor. Quality education in terms of skill development, in terms of provisions to the schooling, primary schooling, relevant in school infrastructure, equipment, educational materials, resources, scholarship, and all the teaching force, teacher training, books and resources, and gender equality, parity, all kinds of. So, quality education, how to ensure quality education, it has become the most important topic, most vital, most important issue of this SDG 4, that is the quality education. Quality education, how can we provide it to each and every citizen of the country, be it skill development, be it the research, be it primary education, be it school education, secondary education, whatever may be the thing. And so, for that matter, quality education is how to improve it, because we need all round development, not only the content, syllabus, curriculum, technology access, then teacher training, the syllabus, or teacher orientation, lifelong learning. So, education can only be updated and quality can be achieved only through continuous and lifelong learning. So, for that reason, as our government has also already taken the initiative, very many initiatives for the higher education, school education, that we will be subsequently discussing on this. So, education that liberates the intellect, unlocks the imagination and fundamental for self respect, and it is the key to prosperity. If you want to enhance the economic condition of our growth or move towards economic growth to become a developed nation. So, definitely education is such a platform, is the only source through which we can contribute towards a progressive society, healthy society. And so, the learning benefits are every citizen can get the learning benefits, and how they can continue their lifelong learning for the welfare of society. So, therefore, education, quality education, and under this quality education SDG 4 also there are so many targets also. So, achieving the inclusive and quality education for all reaffirms the belief that education is one of the most powerful and proven vehicle for sustainable development. So, after all the discussions etc., and data analysis everything, so education is being considered as one of the most powerful and proven vehicle for sustainable development. It also aims to provide equal access to affordable vocational training, eliminate the gender bias and wealth disparities, achieve the universal access to quality of higher education, all these things. So, now let us move towards the condition of education in India. The right of the children for the Free and Compulsory Education Act was introduced 2009, then National Early Childhood Care Policy 2013, and however, this is the current scenario. And more recently we can talk about this National Education Policy 2020, which has dramatically changed, has completely transformed the whole educational scenario in our country. So, these are some of the issues, some of the policy issues and the history, a little bit history of this educational platforms. The National Achievement Survey NCERT 2017, children's school readiness age 5 has been far below. So, therefore, over the first half of the country program there have been various changes in the operating environment, and that has impacted upon how the UNICEF India's education program also start its operations. So, these are some of the history and the background data, and gender equality, and then comes the fifth, that is the gender equality. Gender equality and empower all women and girls, that is, so gender bias is actually undermining our social fabric and undervalues our resources, manpower, etc. So, it is not just about the human rights issues, but also tremendous wastage of the world's human capital resources are also happening. So, therefore, gender equality is a principle of the states that all the men and women need to be treated equally, to have the same right despite the biological difference, and they should not be prevented from having the same opportunity or avail the opportunities in education, health and other social services. So, therefore, how to that is therefore, nowadays we are advocating, or the government is also framing the policies for the violence against women, domestic violence, all kinds of things, sexual violence and exploitation, and right for education, right for dignity in life, right for justice, all kinds of things are being modified in terms of policies, and the bills. So, here our effort is to how to bring that gender equality in our society, not just in India, but in the global context. So, this is the status of gender equality in India. Gender Development Index has been disappointing. So, how it also, because with the gender equality, and also we not only will leverage our human resources and power, but also we can uplift our economic growth, we can enhance, increase our economic resources, and we can move our society towards the prosperity. So, this is all about the crime against women, how it can be how it can be curbed, how it can be possible decline can happen, and how with the implementation of the legal laws and the policies, etc., how the social reform can take place towards the gender equality in India. These are some of the links, web links are there, you can go through the further details. So we have already discussed about the 17 sustainable development goals. Now the rest of the goals we will discuss about it. Okay, thank you.